It's actually been a while since we've opened something on this channel. We're still waiting for OPO 6, of course, it's not out just yet, but this month we actually have a new starter deck to open. So let's jump right in. So if you haven't followed the news, Starter Deck 11 is going out this very month. And so my local game shop just told me that my copies of the Starter Deck 11 was in the shop, so I just went and picked them up. I always take 2 copies because some cards you only get 2 ofs in each box. So if I want a playset of all the cards, I need to pick up 2 copies, otherwise I just have to buy them singles, and buying them singles is usually as expensive, if not more expensive, than just buying 2 copies of the deck out of the bat. So yeah, 2 copies of the Starter Deck 11. Let's open these up. Here we go. Very pinkish and blue design for this box, and they also seem to have modified the inside of the box. The box is nothing to write home about. They have stopped including the deck recipe here on the back, which I found was a very cool touch. Otherwise you just get the cool Uta artwork on the face of the box. Of course, as always with any starter deck, you need to be ready to play, so you have a paper mat, also with all the rules of the game at the back. And now let's look actually at the deck. I don't know what this is made of. Feels like plastic. I'd rather they use cardboard. The first starter deck were only cardboard, and that was just perfectly fine. And so as always with each deck, you're gonna have 10 done with the deck. Just gonna fold this up real quick. Let's extract the cards. So you have your 10 dawns here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because as always, a starter deck always includes everything you need to start playing. And so let's take a look at the Uta leader that you have right here. Effect is down X1 when attacking once per turn. You can reveal 1 card from the top of your deck and add up to 1 film type card to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of the deck. So of course this leader is perfect for film deck, and you actually get draw power built into the leader, so that's very cool. The next card we're gonna have is this SR Uta, and she's a blocker. She's a 3-cost 4k power blocker. End of your turn, you may trash 1 event from your hand, set up to 1 of your film type character as active. Very strong restand in a green deck, and there are of course some events in this deck that you may trash in order to get that restand ability. The next card that we're gonna find is this event SR as well. That's New Genesis. It's a 1-cost event that has a main effect. If your leader is Uta, you can look at the 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal 1 type film card other than New Genesis, and add it to your hand. Then you can place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order and set up to 1 of your dawn as active. So that card is basically free. That's basically a free event that you can play because you restand the dawn that you just used, and also it's a draw power that you can have in addition to your leader's effect. So really those are very good cards to use in the film type in the green color. Next card that we're gonna have is 4 copies of Brook, and that Brook is actually a reprint from OPO2. So I have to say, like, I'm still on the fence about a big part of this deck, because those are majorly reprints, and that Monkey D. Luffy is also a reprint from OPO2. Pretty much all the Straw Hats in this deck. We have next Usopp here, same deal, reprint from OPO2. Next we have 4 copies of Jinbei, and that's just the same thing. Next we have Tony Chopper, also from OPO2, 4 copies of. Trafalgar Law here is also a reprint from OPO2 as well. You got 4 copies of Nico Robin. She's also, of course, a reprint from OPO2. There's only 5 new cards in this deck, and those are the leaders, the 2 SR that are here, and basically the events. So that Frankie you see here that I'm gonna show next is also a reprint from OPO2. I mean, if you don't have those cards, that's a good thing, but if you pick 2 decks, you're gonna have big surplus at the end. Zoro is also the reprint from OPO2 in the film type. Oh, look at that, I was actually mistaken. The 3 Swords style Onigiri is also a reprint from OPO2. And you get 4 copies of. And that leaves us with all these cards here. We have Backlight as the next event, and that's one of the original cards from the starter deck 11. The effect is the main effect that if your leader is Uta, you can choose one. You either rest up to one of your opponent's character with a cost of 5 or less, or you KO up to one of your opponent's rested character with a cost of 5 or less. Very good effect, very cool KO. For 2 you can KO something that has 5, or you can rest something with 5. So you can play Backlight back to back, and then you get a rest and a KO in the same turn for a 4 cost, all the while targeting something with 5. That's very practical. And the very last card that we have is 4 copies of I'm Invincible. It's a 3 cost event that you can set up to one of your Uta leader as active. So you can restand your leader, basically. And you also get a trigger that you can give up to one of your leader or character cards plus 1k during this turn. And that is basically all the deck. And before I get into my detailed opinion on this deck, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. If you like card game, board game, video game, mangas and all that good stuff, you're in the right place. And also, the more the merrier, so make sure to share this video with your friends that are as geeky as you. But yeah, when it comes down to this starter deck 11, there are good cards in that. The leader seems interesting, and some of those events are very practical and very useful, but I really feel I'm being robbed. Because quite frankly, all those reprints there, that's just not good. Bandai, if you ever see this video, do not do this again. When I buy a start, you started this card game, you yourself, Bandai, started this card game by going the route of booster sets that are their own sets and starter deck that are their own sets, and they do not mix, okay? You yourself, Bandai, started this. And now you're telling me that you're gonna print out a starter deck with only 5 original cards and all the rest is going to be reprints from the booster sets. That is not okay. You either do one or the other. Dragon Ball Super Card Game did this back in the day. They would print out starter deck with exclusive starter deck cards, and the rest was basically cards from booster sets. That's fine. If you wanted to do that, that was fine. I was ready to go that route and follow the game with that, but you didn't. You chose that the cards from the starter deck were only starter deck exclusives, and we would not have any cards from the booster sets in those decks. So do one or the other. Because right now, if I had known that I would have cards from the booster set by buying the starter decks, I wouldn't have bought that much cards from the sets. I would have waited for the starter deck and get the cards that I needed. So don't do that. Otherwise, I feel the deck is somehow pretty solid. You get strong effects with restand for your own leader. You get some rest and KO here with Backlight. And we already know that we have a ton of film type cards that are available to us if we need to customize this deck. So if you're just starting out the game, this is still a good deck that you can pick. Also, if you missed out on OPO2, then I guess there is value in those reprints that are with the deck, provided that, for instance, the Luffy that is included in the deck is actually a rare card, and you're supposed to have this foiled when you buy the OPO2 set. But that's just being nitpicking. That's still a very nice deck if you're starting out the game. And that is it, guys. This was the opening of the starter deck 11, the Uta deck. Like I said, I'm still mad about those reprints, but leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree that starter deck should include reprints of common cards from past sets? Because when you look at the starter deck landscape of the One Piece card game, there are decks that really are providing tons of value without including reprints, or when they do include a reprint, it's done in a more valuable way. And if you're curious about which deck I'm talking about that provides such value, maybe you should check out this video next.